Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today we're talking about Momoa in Minecraft, a new Star Wars game from Amy Hennig, and Netflix slashing animation. All this and everything else that happened this week in Geek.
Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hey, it's Nate, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. Joining me this week, we've got... he's a fan of animation who's strong with the Force, but can also be described as tall and blocky. He's Justin Lawrence.
Tall and blocky.
Right? Yeah, tall and blocky.
I literally embody something from everything we are going to be talking about.
I think
everything,
so.
everywhere, all at once. That is me. Okay.
That's you.
How are you?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good. Long day at work today for me. So I'm trying to, I was saying before we started recording, I'm like, I gotta get my energy up. But before we kind of dive into this week, into the news and everything, I needed to bring something up. Some really sad news recently. Justin, it makes me wish we could move to a multiverse outside of our own where things never get delayed. Don't you wish sometimes there's a universe out there that exists? What do I have to do? What chapstick do I have to eat to get to that version of the world where we get to have things not delayed? Because I don't know if you saw this or if you heard, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, I guess, of 2 has been delayed into 2023. And we also got some other news about Madam Web, but I don't care about any of that. Justin, are you upset? What's going through your mind right now?
Oh yeah, I knew about this. I as you were mentioning, delays have just been kind of the norm, the constant norm,
especially with Sony. Yeah.
Well, just in general, I think it's been something that we've been seeing. But yes, definitely with that, with Sony, with Warner as well. We're gonna nitpick here, but I did tweet out, this one hurts. This is the one that hurts the most because I believe in our looking forward to in 2022, what we were getting excited for. This was on top of my list as at the end of this year. I was very excited for it.
And I'm reading here now that they also said they dropped. For Across the Spider-Verse, they've dropped the Part 1 from the title. Yeah. But apparently they are still doing a Part 2 for March 29th, 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a lot to come. And honestly, for me, don't get me wrong, dude, I'm bummed out by it too. I was really looking forward to seeing that movie this year. But Chris Miller, more time to make it great is what he tweeted out. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's true.
So I think
it's very true.
And I think that's literally it. I wish that it was already made great so we could enjoy it at the end of this year. But I know that we're gonna get it. It's one of the ones that does sting the most of all the other ones. I was very excited for Into the Spider-Verse. So, and I think a lot of people on Twitter were. It was a bit of a everyone shed a tear. Everyone shed a tear.
I just feel like it was. You know what? Here's the thing. You're announcing a Madam Web project with Dakota Johnson and putting that out, I guess, July 7th, and then an Equalizer movie. I don't know if I care about anything that's Sony specific, right? I just don't know if I need to get those movies. What's the other one that they're doing right now?
Craven,
right? Craven is another one that they're doing, and
it's in production right now.
If it's just gonna be Morbius again, right? If that's what they're gonna be doing or putting out, if it's just gonna be Venom 2 again, I don't care.
Yeah. Let's talk about the movie that we did get to actually see. We didn't see Morbius, and I probably
that's true.
I'll probably watch Morbius once it does hit some sort of streaming platform or.
But Justin, I want less bias. I want less. I don't want more bias. Honestly, I just feel like anything that's not coming from MCU proper, right, or partnered with Marvel proper, I just don't know if I care enough.
I know. I get what you're saying, though. Of all of the stuff that Sony is working on in terms of Marvel's Spider-Man, this is the most interesting. Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse.
The Spider-Verse, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is the most exciting. So to hear this one. Getting delayed, like I said, I go back to my first sentiments. It hurts. Of all of the movies to get delayed. Madam Web, sure. Equalizer, whatever. Craven, I don't really care. But Into the Spider-Verse, I would rather that sooner than later.
Yeah.
And that's just me being greedy. That's just me being greedy, obviously, being selfish. But I understand, as Chris Miller says, it's just more time to make it great. And I believe in them. They did such a good job with the movie. They're allowed to have this extra time.
Sure.
So not that they need to ask my permission, but I think that it's warranted and it is deserved that they get the extra time, given everything going on right now in this sort of post transition of pandemic lifestyle, if you will. Things are still not quite where they are, and studios are bogged down, and post-production houses are bogged down. So this is going to happen. We're going to see more and more of this.
Well, it's better this than it getting completely canceled, right? Obviously we've got a few things to talk about coming up, around things that have gotten canceled and might be coming back. So let's just get into it. Let's get into the news.
It's all about the details.
All right, our first news story here, Amy Hennig and Skydance New Media creating a new Star Wars game. This comes directly from a post on StarWars.com. It's a Star Wars thing, so we're going to talk about it, everybody. That's the Geekcentric podcast way. A new Star Wars adventure is on the way from one of gaming's most acclaimed creators. Skydance New Media today announced a collaboration with Lucasfilm Games to develop and produce a narrative-driven action-adventure game featuring an original story set in the Star Wars galaxy. Helming Skydance New Media is award-winning writer and director Amy Hennig, a game industry legend whose credits include the blockbuster series Legacy of Kain, Jak and Daxter, shout out to Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted. In a quote, "I've often described how seeing Star Wars in 1977 essentially rewired my 12-year-old brain, shaping my creative life and future indelibly," said Hennig, president of Skydance New Media. Continuing, she says, "I'm elated to be working with Lucasfilm Games again to tell interactive stories in this galaxy that I love." Another quote here from, I believe it's from Skydance directly, Vice President Douglas Riley. "We couldn't be more thrilled to be working again with Amy. She and the Skydance New Media team have the talent and ambition to create a unique Star Wars adventure. Their vision for making narrative-driven and engaging interactive entertainment makes this collaboration very exciting. We're working hard with their team of experienced and talented developers, and we're looking forward to sharing more with Star Wars fans when the time is right. Maybe Star Wars Celebration? Come on." This is the second significant project announced for the game studio, which was formed by Hennig and veteran producer Julian Beek to pioneer a new category of narrative-driven interactive entertainment. In late 2021, the studio announced a partnership with Marvel Entertainment. This is also another thing that popped up that I think a lot of people missed, to craft an all-new game with an original story and their unique take for beloved Marvel characters. Beek, the executive producer, vice president, and GM for Skydance New Media, says, "We look forward to taking fans on an epic journey with the Star Wars action adventure title." Now, Justin, we were kind of talking a little bit about this off air. I was kind of talking to you about why Amy Hennig is such a huge get for a Star Wars game, and kind of a little bit of the past. I feel like this is the world correcting itself. Because back in 2017, Project Ragtag, which was led by Hennig, was canceled after EA shut down Visceral Games. And in this, you hear how passionate she's talking about going to the theater and how it rewired her brain. Just how passionate Amy is about Star Wars. For her to be so far on development for Ragtag, on what sounded, according to what sources said, it looked incredible. And there's concept art out there that I was sending you. For it just to get canceled, which according to Andrew Wilson, who was CEO of EA at the time, it was because they were, quote unquote, listening to player feedback and following marketplace trends, is absolutely ridiculous, because you've got somebody who created frickin' Uncharted, right? And we're looking at, I think, to be fair, the only thing I could possibly think of, and I'm not trying to defend EA here, but in 2017 there was this odd little moment of time where a lot of game studios were saying people only want multiplayer games. They don't want these big storyline single player games anymore. They want the multiplayer games. Companies want to make a ton of money off Fortnite like games, so that's all we want to focus on. And it just sucks because Ragtag did look so good. So I'm really stoked for this. How much, Justin, do you think of Ragtag? Do you think is going to make it over to this game, or do you think she has the ability to do that?
I hope a good chunk of it does. Based on the sort of the outline of what the game was, it fit into the Star Wars universe so well. And if you're going to be playing a Star Wars game, the story of smugglers, if you will, it seems really intriguing and interesting, especially if they are trying to do this idea of trying to, you experience each of the characters throughout the game, very much like you would in a Star Wars movie. I also read as well about Project Ragtag that there was some disagreements about how things were handled in terms of who held the creative ownership. And I know Amy Hennig really wanted to hold that creative integrity, but that always tends to lend itself to be a negative impact on the working relationship of collaborations, especially when you're working with someone else's IP. Like, it is Lucasfilm, it is Star Wars. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the fact that Lucasfilm is getting behind this, they must have recognized the potential that was Project Ragtag, and maybe this is the way that they're going to do that. But from gaming experiences, like having played the Marvel Avengers game, and you've played Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't played that one. But this concept of being able to shift between different characters' point of view in story, in game, whether that's in action sequences or not, that's still being worked on and refined on a narrative scale, right? Like the multiplayer concept really comes in when you can be one character, I could be another character, and we have Darcy and Kevin playing other characters all from home, and we're doing this mission together. Very Destiny, very Fortnite, very, you know what I mean? Like there is that opportunity that everyone could potentially play the story collectively together. That makes it really interesting. But we know how clunky it is when you're an individual single player shifting between those different characters, how they balance that, like how that gaming experience is. So maybe it wasn't the time then to bring Project Ragtag, and maybe it is now with what has been learned and what has been tried. Because we still haven't even gotten Suicide Squad, which is, again, another, we assume is another idea. Format. Yeah. And Gotham Knights is supposed to come out as well.
Yeah. For me, the traversal as a group, or when you are a single player switching between the characters thing in action, I don't know if it works as well. The way that I was sort of reading a lot of what they were talking about with Ragtag was the idea that you would just shift from story or line to storyline or narrative to narrative between the characters. Very similar to if you ever played like GTA, right? Where you do have the opportunity to sort of fly up in the map and then switch to a different character who's following their own story arc. I could really see that working really well for a Star Wars style story.
That makes sense, yeah.
I just got, like, again, looking at all the concept art and seeing some of the imagery from the game, dude, if it reminded me a lot of like like the moments in Solo where we do kind of get this sort of like heist moments, like the good parts of Solo, the only good parts, that really reminded me of what we could get in this game. I think it would be really, really cool to see that, and I'm really happy for her. Like, I'm really happy that she's getting the ability to make her Star Wars game, and the fact that she's working with Lucasfilm. I mean, I've heard stories that Lucasfilm is very they're particular about what you can do with the Star Wars universe at a certain time, or what you can, they've got their sort of all in canon encompassing, concepts and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. But I've heard a lot of really good things of them giving a lot of leeway to creators to make sure that, hey, you know what, you make the game you want to make, we're going to stand by you. And if this is going to be, an Uncharted heist style action game set in the Star Wars universe, come on, I'm in. Let's go. Yeah,
that description alone just makes it work. But I think this is the perfect time to be working with Lucasfilm. I think back then when, what year did they initially start working on Project Ragtag?
It was like 2013 or something like that.
Right. So, they were, I think, amidst the sort of acquisition, right, if you will. Mm-hmm. They're still figuring it out, obviously, with Star Wars and Lucasfilm and what they're doing with that property, Disney as a whole.
Yeah.
But things that are now set up for success, they can approach these new endeavors with the opportunity of working with creators who are passionate, mm-hmm. right? Like Amy Hennig seems to be about Star Wars, to help tell those stories, right? That is, in a way, how you adopt the Marvel mind frame in Lucasfilm is trusting the creators to do their best work, while you as Lucasfilm, who are the owner and proprietor of the property and of the IP itself, you can ensure as a consultant that that's being represented and being handled in its best way, but you're still giving that leeway to those creators. So, Star Wars would benefit from having a game experience that's like this, that's not necessarily so singular Jedi Sith Lord focus, something that is very much about the sort of the characters within the galaxy, very much what we're seeing in live action TV as it takes on with, the Mandalorian and exploring that side, right? We're not sticking with Jedis and Sith Lords, right? We're seeing them, but they're not necessarily the focus. The regular people of the galaxy who are trying to make ends meet, those are the people that our stories are being told. So I think this is very fitting that if they were to bring something like Project Ragtag, or at least an idea that I think it's going to be branched off of, right? Because there's been so many technological advancements between 2013 and now.
Oh yeah.
And gameplay experiences, maybe refinement of the narrative and missions and stuff like that. I think this is, this 2.0 version that we may get of Project Ragtag is going to be the best version.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 9 or a 10. I can't see with Amy Hennig. It's Star Wars, Lucasfilm. You put all that into a pot. I don't see it being anything less than a 9. Honestly, I think it's gonna be fantastic. Sure. But keeping in line with the aspect of video games and video game news, story number 2 here: Jason Momoa to star in Minecraft movie for Warner Bros. I'm surprised they didn't, get your tall, blocky ass in there. But this is in a report from Aaron Couch from The Hollywood Reporter. Aquaman and Dune star Jason Momoa is lining up yet another tentpole with Warner Bros. The actor is in final negotiations to star in the studio's live-action Minecraft movie, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Napoleon Dynamite filmmaker Jared Hess will direct the project based on the popular video game. Dune producer Mary Parent and Roy Lee will produce. That's cool. With Jill Messick receiving a posthumous producing credit for developing on the film before her death in 2018. Executive producers include John Berg, Cale Boiter, and John Spates. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The video game hails from Sweden's Mojang Studios, with Mojang's Lydia Winters and View Bui also producing the film. Minecraft, which debuted in 2011, allows players to use blocks to create structures and worlds, and the game became a sensation, reaching 100 million users just a few years after launch. And then Microsoft acquired Mojang for $2.5 billion back in 2014. Warner has been developing a project based on the game for many years now, with Sean Levy and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia star Rob McElhenney among those who have been attached to direct. Gaming movies have been on a hot streak in recent years, with 20th Century launching a hit franchise with Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy. Is that a franchise, though? Whatever. And Paramount finding success with Sonic sequel earlier this month. So, Justin, biggest questions here. Are you excited for a Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa? And how does this even work? Is it animated? Is it live action? What are we going to do?
I really don't know. I think the only part that really intrigues me is the fact that Jared Hess is behind this project as a director. Having Sean Levy and obviously Rob McElhenney, that's also very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like I never really caught on to the Minecraft craze. I know it's really, really for kids. Mm-hmm. But I think this is a banger of a property that will do really well
Oh yeah.
If it's handled properly. But again, I don't even know what that means. What does a well handled Minecraft movie look like? I do trust who's involved though, because again, Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre. He's done other things, but those movies are I guess, probably some of my favorites. So
I agree with you. I think the weird part for me though is Jared Hess, like, if he brings the Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre charm into a Jason Momoa-led Minecraft movie, that sounds exciting for like you and me. I just don't know if the demographic for Minecraft and Napoleon, as sad as I am to say it, I know it ages us, but Napoleon Dynamite and Minecraft's demographic, I don't feel like they overlap that well. So I don't know if he is going to, approach it from like, I don't know.
Yeah, with Sean Levy attached, you can't help but think about Free Guy.
Right.
And now if you take the concept of Free Guy in terms of the narrative elements and the character sort of a journey, if you will, throughout that movie, and you applied it with the Minecraft skin over top, it could work. It could totally work, right? So it could be that. But they're not necessarily going to go that exact route. I bet you that they're going to take that formula of that character and implement the world elements of Minecraft.
Sure.
But trying to help tell a story. It'll be interesting if they stick strictly within the Minecraft world, or very much like Free Guy, they live in the game and outside of the game. Right? So it's you know what I mean? Like the game kind of becomes like this experience of maybe like Jumanji, where you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
they go into the game. Yeah,
right. I don't know. That's
the only way they can do live action, though, right? Like, I just feel like if you're bringing in Jason Momoa, are you just bringing him in for his voice, right? Like, are you going to go the animated route? Because I'm trying to picture live action Minecraft, and I can't see it.
But you can't. I don't think Minecraft really lends itself to the live action format as well as maybe other games. I think when you think of Minecraft, it has to be animated and digital, right? Like how they're doing Mario. They're not doing live action Mario with people, they're going the animated route. So what does Jason Momoa's character look like in that world? Is he a voice character or is he a live action character? Because you're right, having someone like him, just to have him, not as a voice actor, but just to have him, he sells. I feel like he himself physically is worth more as an actor than he is as a voice actor.
Yeah.
So
it's huge.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but again, I trust that whatever product we get, it'll be good because of who's behind it.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe I'm putting too much faith in those creators, but Sean Levy did a pretty good job with Free Guy. He did a pretty good job with the Adam Project. So you know what I mean? If he's not directing this one, obviously, but he's helping get the story to a place that makes sense as a producer, kind of bringing it to life. I think that should be good. I think it should be good. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm interested to see a trailer. That's for sure.
Sure. We're a little. I think we're a little ways out, but if it is animated, who knows if it'll show up on Netflix. Netflix is. Well, let's talk about it. They're doing some interesting things. Let's get to story number 3. Netflix is slashing animation amid subscriber drops. This news brought to us by Ryan Leston at IGN, who reports it looks as though Netflix is cutting loose its animated projects. After highly publicized subscriber losses, Netflix is putting the brakes on its animation efforts, firing executives and canceling several highly anticipated shows. According to the Wrap, Netflix's director of creative leadership and development for original animation, Phil Rinda, was let go this week, along with several of his staff. Not only that, but several high-profile animated series have now been canceled. This includes the long-awaited adaptation of Bone, the critically acclaimed comic from Jeff Smith. Additionally, an animated adaptation of Roald Dahl's The Twits has been canceled, although the project will reportedly live on as a feature film. Lauren Faust's Toil and Trouble was also canceled. And these cancellations come amid rumors of a changing direction at Netflix Animation. Quote, "We want to be the home of everybody's favorite show," Rinda originally told creators. But this mantra was replaced recently by, quote, "We want to make what our audience wants to see," from Netflix co-CEO Reed Hastings. Conversely, Boss Baby is touted as the pinnacle of how animation should perform on Netflix, despite the fact that the animated series isn't even owned by Netflix at all. It's licensed from DreamWorks. When it comes to cancellations or the threat of them, several creators, including City of Ghosts director Elizabeth Ito, have complained of Netflix using staged data to make their point, using manipulated data to justify lack of funding or cancellation despite critical acclaim for projects. Equally frustrating for creators has been Netflix's marketing protocols. Promotion typically doesn't begin until 1 month before release, and sometimes the title itself isn't even announced before then. This leaves a very small window to generate hype for projects, which is especially difficult for a smaller animated projects, which rely on creators generating hype themselves via social media. Netflix Animation has been sidelined on its official shop as well, with not a single item from a kids and family animated project. Centaur World executive producer Dominic Bisignano said that Netflix is proud of its data. And I don't think he said it in a good way. And that seems to be where many of the problems lie. Bisignano claims that this approach brings up a lot of questions, and after offering the streamer more episodes than originally planned, he was presented with data that not given any context as to what it actually meant. Bisignano asked more questions, but wasn't given any answers, and is now at Cartoon Network. There you go. What happens with Netflix Animation remains to be seen from a studio as a whole, but it's not looking good. So, Justin, obviously this is super frustrating. You know, with subscriber losses in a quarter for the first time in over a decade, they've lost 200,000 subscribers in Q1. They're predicting that they're going to lose 2 million more in Q2, and their solution is to kill off these animation projects. I mean, honestly, it seems like a big, slap in the face for animation, and it just kind of adds to the already degrading perception that's been coming up, especially recently at the Oscars, that animation is kind of second rate. What do you think about these decisions that Netflix is making here?
Well, the sentiment that Netflix is proud of their data is very true. That is how we get series, and that's how series get canceled.
Yeah.
Let's take into consideration Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't perform well for them, and they had a knee-jerk reaction, and they canceled it.
Yeah.
And this is to be expected. This is the sort of knee-jerk reaction that they're going to the loss of subscribers and the strategy of content, because that is how content is released. It is released on strategy, but because they're Netflix and they have some of the highest amount of subscribers and they're producing content. It's just they're proud of that data. It doesn't make sense though. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't justify the reality of what they're doing. It makes it easier for them to make those calls though, because there's a finite number that says, for them at least, or numbers that say this is not performing well, so we can cut our losses and move on. That being said, it doesn't justify the way they're I was very excited to see this Bone series, and the fact that they're cutting it is it's unfortunate, because I enjoyed the comic growing up. It was so good.
And I do hope that Bone finds another streaming platform to jump onto. Yeah. I'm wondering what this means for something like Cuphead. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if Cuphead necessarily performed the way that they might have wanted it to. The thing is we watched Cuphead. I saw Cuphead as a thumbnail, not as a big banner, but as a thumbnail for half a second on Netflix. And guess what? The next day, I didn't see Cuphead at all, ever again, anywhere near there. And it's one of those things where it's just extremely frustrating, because you're looking at these smaller projects, and it's just they have so much stuff on Netflix. It's just there's too much. There's too much there, and they're the way that they organize it is just completely insane. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and if they're not going to give these smaller projects any sort of like respect or push, and it's their project, like it's a Netflix thing. I'm not talking about them bringing on stuff from like a third party and sort of shuffling it to the side and saying, yeah, we put it on our platform. This is a Netflix animated thing. Why isn't it at the forefront? And why is this your first thought here? Instead of like saying, okay, we're going to crack down on password sharing, like, frick, man, like take care of your creators, and they're going to want to work with you. This is just going to push people to Cartoon Network and to all these other places.
Yeah, but I think the biggest point of the article that it really does highlight is their strategy in terms of what kind of content to deliver. But their strategy also has holes in it, in that they're not marketing these things. They're relying on the creators and them to kind of push their content to get people's eyes there. And, you know, they're just doing the work a month out because, to your point, they have so much content.
There's so much
on the regular.
They just got to put it out. They're like a funnel. Like, it doesn't stop.
But that's to be expected. Again, there's so many different things to be attributed that I believe in another article I was reading that Netflix knows, you know, COVID has ramped up the accessibility and the need for content on a streaming platform. We also have more choices. We have way more choices. So they know that the number of subscribers were obviously going to decline at some point, right? They knew that. But the whole password sharing thing is just a way to try to figure out how they can monetize, which is also a bad strategy, right? Like, they should just be figuring out how they could make their projects live longer and get the promotional backing out earlier rather than later. Right, to kind of get the hype, you know, like you do an event like the Dumb event, and you're supposed to showcase all these things, and in some cases it's nice to see it, but there's nothing until a month before that project is going to hit the platform that's being shared. So there is a disconnect here. There's other things that can be evaluated rather than going and trying to attack your customers by gouging them for more money, and B, slashing something that I think rightly so helps define Netflix as one of the platforms that does both the live action but the animated. You know, you called it out too. Like, what does this mean for Arcane in season 2? Yeah, right.
Which isn't Netflix animation, but
perfect. Okay,
right. Which is good. I know we're all like, oh, breathe a sigh of relief there.
So they're still going to be bringing in. They're going to be bringing in these third party, as you pointed out. But what they're reevaluating is what kind of content are they producing as a Netflix animation studio.
Correct.
That it's early days for them. They're going to want to figure this out. I just don't think that it's a personal attack. I think there's going to be more cuts to like some of the live action stuff that we might be seeing, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's like how many Cake Boss shows, or This Is Cake, or whatever the show is.
Like, those shows, no, for sure. But that's what people may want. But
we need 9 of them, though, Justin. We don't need 9
of them. I definitely agree with you. But if people are watching that, then that is entirely why there's 9 of them, and the numbers show that. Yeah. And being a business that evaluates based on numbers is crucial. They value the numbers over the content, because the content can come and go. It's always coming, man. Netflix is always working on something. So I'm just glad that nothing that's currently in production is being canceled and being abandoned. It sounds like a lot of what they had canceled was
stuff that was about to be produced, pre-production stuff.
Yeah, right. Was in pre-production and ideation. It's not things that like, hey, okay, we're just going to pull back, right? Like Rebel Moon is Zack Snyder's live action movie, his version of Star Wars that he's doing for Netflix. Sure. There's a lot of hype around that. They know where to put their dollars. They're trying to get smarter about it. They need to loosen up, and they need to start putting more movies in theaters to really build the hype. I also think
just even the release strategy, we were talking about the idea of bingeable or not bingeable, binging things or not binging things.
Lose the binge. I think they need to lose the binge.
Look at Disney totally Plus, right? Look at Disney Plus and their eventized every Wednesday, every Friday situation that they've got going on there. That's perfect. Just do that. Do that.
They have Marvel. That's the hype. That's the pull.
But
right?
if Stranger
Things, like, what are you going to do? Stranger Things, 100%.
It's going to pop for a day. And then no one's going to talk about it after. I promise.
No, it's going to pop for the weekend, and
sure,
and that's
a weekend,
right?
And that's it.
So,
But if you could string this along for episode by episode each week, and then you put that's huge.
Personally, I think they need to abandon the binge mentality. I think some of it could work for the cake shows, the reality TV shows that people love.
Whatever.
That's bingeable. Just post all those episodes. Boom. But for these more higher tier series, even their docu-series stuff, they should go week by week. I think they should look at those numbers to see how that performs, right? Yeah. To understand how that would work.
Yeah, man. I just don't think the idea of like cracking down on password sharing, that you're investing money in that and you're saying you're taking away money from these incredible creators. Just, if somebody's not paying now for Netflix. If they're working with their family and friends to get their passwords, they're not gonna continue to. They're gonna be like, oh shoot, we can't share passwords anymore. I'm gonna get to. No, they're just gonna not watch Netflix. They're gonna go to all the other things that they can share passwords with. So
that's exactly it. You're closing a door. So you're taking away from creators, and then you're gonna go back and try to gouge the customers. I just don't understand if that's the proper strategy to be handling it. Like, there's another way here at Netflix. I think they can kind of be creative about how they could do that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I love a lot of their original content. I just think the way that they're releasing it and the way that they're just not really showing enough respect to even their biggest stuff is really upsetting. But you know who did get some respect? You know who's been getting respect? A lovely bloke named Andy Serkis, who is finally making his Animal Farm adaptation. Story number 4 here. This is brought to us by James White from Empire Online. With his work on Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and recent acting gigs in the likes of the Batman in the can, Andy Serkis has carved out the time he needs and found the support required to finally kick off directing a long gestating project, Animal Farm. George Orwell's 1945 allegorical novella, I don't know why I said it with Italian, novella, drew from the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the Stalinist regime. It involves a group of animals who rebel against the humans who own their own farm and win their independence. Though the architects of the revolution create a utopian environment based on equality, a pig named Napoleon twists the original intent, slowly eliminates his rivals, and enacts 7 commandments, the most basic of which declares that all animals are created equal, but some animals are created more equal than others. Okay. Orwell's tome has been adapted at least 3 times for the screen, but Serkis, who has been aiming to get this one made since 2012, believes he's found a new way into it. Quote, "We're keeping it fabulistic and aimed at a family audience. We are not going to handle the politics in a heavy-handed fashion," he told The Hollywood Reporter back then. Continuing, he said, it is going to be emotionally centered in a way that I don't think has been seen before. The point of view that we take will be slightly different to how it is normally portrayed, and the characters, we're examining this in a new light. Said the Muppets' Nicholas Stoller, who wrote the script. It was bought by Netflix in 2018, but there has been little news of it since, and the streaming service has not mentioned it in a new statement. Instead, this will be a co-production of Serkis's Imaginarium company, Toon Team Aniventure, and animation VFX experts Cinesight. Quote, "The challenging journey to bring this extraordinary story to the screen has been finally rewarded by the opportunity to partner with the brilliant team of Aniventure and Cinesight," Serkis says. "Together we hope to make our version of Orwell's ever-relevant masterpiece emotionally powerful, humorous, and relatable for all ages. A tale not only for our times, but for generations to come." So, Justin, based off this description, are you excited for an Animal Farm movie?
This article is absolutely right. I remember hearing about Andy Serkis wanting to do this movie for quite some time. Mm-hmm. So I am glad to see that it's as a passion project, it's still been going, and 10 years later, it looks like it's making some moves, if you will, and we'll get to see it. It would be interesting to see. I have only seen an animated version of it. It was in high school after we had read the book, and God, I can't remember that book. That is a book that I have just pushed out. But I understood the idea of the sort of allegorical, satirical quality, right?
Right.
That was what we were meant to kind of take away from this, and how it really was speaking to, again, politics of 1917 Stalinism, and which would inevitably be communism, and evolve into that. So we're in a very interesting point in society with a lot of political divisiveness that happens. So I feel like this could definitely hit if it is done properly. I'm interested to see how he's going to still make it like a family story.
That's the weird part for me, dude. That's the weird part, because I feel like like the original concept could be so much better adapted into like a more adult focused story. Like you could, you know what, keep it animated, but to make it friendly, family friendly, it just doesn't jive with me from what I imagine. And keep in mind, I've never read nor watched a single thing with Animal Farm. You want to know something really weird, actually, Justin? I thought of the idea for Animal Farm prior to knowing what Animal Farm was. Like I was at work, and we were like, it was not busy, and I was just like, you know, it'd be really, like a really cool like series or something, like a movie about, or like a series about like animals who kind of make all the same, they take over the world and they make all the same mistakes that humans do, even though they say they won't. And somebody's like, oh, Animal Farm. And I was like, oh, there's no original ideas in this world. That doesn't exist. But you know, I think based off the original idea, I just think it would be better if it was for adults. I don't know. I think it
doesn't. But I don't know if you want to do like murderous animals that are killing humans.
Get A24 on the line, Justin. Get A24 on the line.
They would be behind something like that. Maybe even Neon. But I feel like we'll have to wait and see what it's all about. But if they can do it, I'm open to that. I do think that one of the biggest things about Animal Farm is that political narrative that's tied to it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he can make it relevant while also making it something that is for all audiences, that doesn't feel like it's only speaking to adults. Like you could take your kids to see this, understand the subtext because you've, you know, read the book or seen another movie.
Sure.
And the kids might be able to take something else from it. Do you know what I mean? Like having the balance of a movie that is for everyone.
Interesting. I just think it'll be really interesting to see if the original moral or the original intent of that story comes across when it's, you know, goofy pigs farting around or something. You know what I mean, right? So we'll have to wait and see. Listen, I have a lot of trust in animation. It's just the aspect of it being a family film that's sort of
Netflix doesn't.
Freak out. No, again. But you know what? We've got some stuff to talk about in relation to Netflix coming up, and animation in maybe a trailer. You want to get the band? Kevin, get the banjo.
It's trailer time.
All right, our first trailer is for Night Sky from series showrunner Daniel C. Connolly. The description as follows: Irene and Franklin York have kept secret a chamber that leads to a deserted planet, but the arrival of an enigmatic young man upends their quiet existence. This is starring Sissy Spacek, Chai Hansen, Adam Bartley, and J.K. Simmons, which, by the way, have I just been pronouncing J.K. Simmons with a D my entire life? And there's no D in his name. Did you know that?
No.
It's crazy.
No, I knew that.
This is streaming exclusively on Prime Video starting May 20th. Justin, what did you think of the trailer for Night Sky?
It's a interesting trailer. It kind of gives me like Arrival vibes by Denis Villeneuve. It's definitely going much deeper with this, in that you're experiencing a whole other planet and there's interaction, and based on the trailer it seems as though it's been something that they've been in possession, if you will, for quite some time. So Amazon is really pushing sci-fi with their content, you know, watching Outer Range right now.
Oh yeah.
And it's also very sci-fi-esque, if you will.
Yeah, I do love I love J.K. Simmons so much.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah.
Originally, it was Ed O'Neill that was supposed to play Franklin, which would have been interesting. But Sissy Spacek, I've not really seen in too much, but I've heard amazing things about. It reminded, I got a lot of vibes of like Pixar's Up meets the Hatch
Wall-E
from Lost. Almost,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's like they're going to be spending a lot of time in this bunker thing that they go into space. It looks like it's going to make me cry, Justin. Like anything to do with like old people that love each other. I don't know why. It always just hits me. Like you see the old couple holding hands in the mall, and I'm like, that's so beautiful. But it's kind of funny that we're getting this trailer the same week as the new Lightyear trailer, which we're about to talk about. The show was originally called Light Years, which I think would have been pretty fitting, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this looks lovely. I don't know. I think I'm gonna check it out, and
I might check it out. I might check out the first episode, but
and then if it hooks you, and then that's the point of these shows, right? They do the thing where it's like they leave you with that cliffhanger. Right. Maybe 2 episodes in, I'll decide if it's worth.
Well, no, for sure. I definitely think you need to give a show its time to kind of sink in, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also really interesting though that this trailer came out now, and I think it's only a month away or less than a month away until it releases, and it's again, haven't seen anything, haven't heard anything about it, but there's a trailer. I'm wondering if these like straight to streaming platforms have a strategy of, rather than kind of doing the long con in terms of like marketing, they just do the short sort of con, saying, in like less than a month this is going to be up so that you can watch.
I guess.
Right? I guess that's what it is. It's just strange though, because I don't know, like I feel like they gave too much away. But there is still some mystery in the sense of how it all kind of fits in.
Right. Who's this guy?
Who's this guy? How do they have access? How do they have access to this sort of like temporal place where they can experience another planet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be. There is still enough of a hook though, but I feel like they do give a lot away.
Well, if they partner with, it'd be cool if they partner with like Meta, and then they do like a VR experience where you could just go there and sit there, like, dude.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That would be. No, thank you.
But yeah, speaking of the show being called Light Years, let's talk about this next trailer here for Lightyear. This is the second trailer that we got. Of course, Lightyear is, as we know, is directed by Angus MacLean. Storyline: the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the hero who inspired the toy. Lightyear follows the legendary space ranger after he is marooned on a hostile planet 4.2 million light years from Earth alongside his commander and their crew. As Buzz tries to find a way back home through space and time, he is joined by a group of ambitious recruits and his charming robot companion cat, Socks. Complicating matters and threatening the mission is the arrival of Zurg, an imposing presence with an army of ruthless robots and a mysterious agenda. This is starring Chris Evans, Keke Palmer, Dale Sewells, Taika Waititi, Peter Sohn, Uzo Aduba, and James Brolin, Efren Ramirez, Mary McDonald-Lewis, and Isaiah Whitlock Jr. And this is streaming exclusively in theaters and in IMAX, dude.
They
June
did.
17th. Let's talk about that. What did you think of this trailer, and what do you think about IMAX, man?
So yeah, I saw that and I was like, "What? I didn't know that." Right? And then I saw an article shortly after saying that Pixar worked with IMAX to create like digital IMAX cameras, so that it could actually. I want to see this movie in IMAX now, though, for sure, right? Like, if especially if it is like full IMAX experience. But I'm so happy that we got a little bit more of a outline of what this story is going to kind of be, and seeing some of the players that are in. I'm so glad we got to finally see Taika Waititi's character.
Hearing him, I was like, let's go.
But it's just funny because Taika Waititi now is he's just himself. Do you know what I mean? Like he comes in and he
has to be.
Right, and he just dresses the character as a slight variation of himself.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's just such a charming voice to hear that it makes you excited, right? So it's cool. It's cool to hear his voice, but I love the sort of to reference another story that we were talking about, the ragtag group of individuals,
his crew,
in this. And the fact that they're time traveling, like that's awesome. Like that kind of confirmed for a lot of people what their suspicions were based on some of the visuals that we had already seen, that time travel was going to kind of play a factor. I'm hooked, man. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm so excited,
dude. I love hearing more Chris Evans' voice as Buzz. I think he's nailing the voice,
the narration
perfectly, dude. When he goes when he's talking to it, he's like, "Come in, Star Command. Why aren't they answering?" Like the throwback to that line was just so good.
Or just even the idea when he gets called out for narrating, and then it's just like, narrating allows you to stay focused, and it's just it's so true. That's how Buzz's character was. It kind of justifies why the toy was so much like that. You know, in that it obviously plays up a lot of the Star Trek elements, but the idea that narration is just so inherently key to the live action character as much as it is the toy, that's just a nice, charming little Easter egg, if you will.
Totally,
they implement. Yeah,
and Pixar's gone to space before with WALL-E. But this is the first time where it feels like they're really exploring the aspect of like real sci-fi, right? Like we're getting Star Wars stuff. We've got his cat is basically the droid companion for the movie, right? And so I just visually it looks so stunning.
It's crazy, yeah.
Dude, the shallow depth of field that's in the movie. Again, we're talking about the fact that they're using these IMAX cameras. I think that was comicbook.com that you were reading, that Jane Yen is the visual effects supervisor, talking about the fact that virtual IMAX camera, 1.43 by 1 aspect ratio. It's just so cool. Like it just shows again, like why animation is just going to keep getting better and better and better, especially with Pixar behind it. And it's just cool that this is shaping up not only to be a love letter to Toy Story fans, but a love letter to sci-fi. Right?
Yeah,
like it's Pixar's Interstellar. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it's their Interstellar, it's their Alien, like the planets
Star
remind
Wars,
me of
E.T.
Alien. I wonder if it's less like sort of Star Wars. Like again, Star Wars is more sci-fi fantasy.
Okay.
Like, I feel like this is like 2001 Space Odyssey. Interstellar. Gravity, even to a certain degree, with just the idea of Lost in Space. Lost in Space. You know what I mean? Like even Star Trek. Whereas like those are so sci-fi in what they do. So this is going to be a sci-fi ass movie that's going to celebrate it in animated, and the fact that they're doing IMAX, that's the icing on the cake for this whole thing. So yeah, I can't wait to get IMAX tickets to see this movie. It's gonna be awesome.
It looks so good. It might be one that I need to book a flight for and come see it with you, just so we can hold each other the entire time. But speaking of more incredible, fantastic, I think genre pushing forward animation, we got the next trailer for or the first trailer for Love, Death and Robots Volume 3. This kind of came out of nowhere. This is from creator Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, and executive producer David Fincher. This is a collection of animated shorts spanning several genres, including sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and comedy. World-class animation creators bring captivating stories to life in the form of unique and visceral viewing experiences. The animated anthology series includes tales that explore alternate histories, life for robots in a post-apocalyptic city, and a plot for world domination by super intelligent yogurt. Nothing has been really announced in terms of some of the incredible cast that I'm sure we're going to get in Volume 3, but previous members of the cast have included such notable names as Topher Grace, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Nolan North, speaking of Uncharted, Samira Wiley, Yuri Lowenthal, who you might know from the voice of Spider-Man in Insomniac Spider-Man, Chris Parnell, and Michael B. Jordan. This is going to be streaming soon. I like how that they said that in the trailer. Streaming soon on May 20th on Netflix. Justin, what are you thinking of? What do you think of Love, Death, and Robots Volume 3?
Well, in regards to this trailer, and in regards to what we were talking about earlier, the way this trailer starts by acknowledging the Emmys that The Crown has won, and the Emmys that The Queen's Gambit won, and then they shift to the awards that Love, Death, and Robots has been celebrated with 11 Emmys as well. It just felt like a bit of a reminder to the audience that they're not giving up on animation entirely. They're just they're just pointing it in a different direction, if you will. That being said, this series has been long praised for its sort of futuristic Black Mirror-esque anthology style narrative that again brings on such a diverse cast to help tell its stories, and the stories are so diverse. The animation and the look and feel of each of the stories. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. No, I haven't watched any of it yet. And I definitely should. And it's been one that is on my list of things to watch. Yeah. And now with I think part of the reason why I didn't watch is because now knowing that 3 is around the corner, I'll definitely be checking them out prior to hopefully us reviewing it.
Totally. I hope we get it.
Yeah, because it would be great to talk about this series, because I do like anthology. I do know that I think this would definitely hook me. As soon as I start watching the first few episodes, I think I'll be really into it.
Dude, they're incredible. It's one of those shows.
There's just so much shit to watch, man.
No,
so
I
much
hear
content.
you, but I'm telling you, these episodes are like 8 minutes long, sometimes 12 minutes. Like the cool thing with this is, they do these stories where by the end of it, you are satisfied with what you've gotten, but you're also like kind of like what we talked about with like Star Wars Visions in some of those episodes, right? Where you're like, I could watch more from that world. I could see more from that world.
That's
right?
cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks really good. I thought this trailer, I was a little weirded out at first by like, why are they showing me the Queen's Gambit right now? Why are they showing the crown? Like, why are we seeing this? I don't know. It felt a little strange.
It just feels like, again, the only reason you would put that in there is if not to only remind people that those shows can be celebrated and be awarded. So can something like this, right? Yeah. Which is animation. I think they realized that story was going to hit the internet, and I think maybe this trailer was a little bit of a reaction. It does feel very tacked on. Like it does feel like it's something that was like added on as like a pre-roll to the original trailer.
I don't know. I was a little freaked out, but then, dude, when it does the glitch thing and then it slaps, right, and it just takes Vivaldi's Winter and just puts this huge like gut-wrenching dubstep track. I was just like, this part of the trailer, dope. Like, whoever edited this is so good. Just some of the most talented people involved, and the first 2 volumes are just so good. I keep going back to them and just rewatching a lot of them. Just every now and then I'll find myself like, I gotta rewatch that episode because it's so good. But yeah, dude, I'm super stoked. We get a bunch of different art styles. I'm interested to see if this is going to be longer than Volume 2 or not, because Volume 1 was just such a treat. But maybe we were a little bit spoiled because then Volume 2 comes out and it's like I think it's only like 8 episodes. But we'll have to wait and see that. Again, that's going to be streaming on May 20th, and hopefully we will have some coverage on that as well.
That's again less than 30 days away.
Yeah,
right.
Right. Why didn't you tell us earlier?
But it's also like, again, like, is this a strategy of streaming platforms, right? Like, to kind of push the marketing closer to the launch date rather than movies because they're not in theaters, right?
Justin,
they're
as
straight
a fan,
to consumer.
but as a fan of Love, Death, and Robots myself, yeah, is it fun and exciting to see? Whoa, Volume 3. Oh, and it comes out May 20 in like less than a month. Awesome! Like, yeah, that's fun and exciting for me. Do you know how many people have never heard anything about Love, Death, and Robots and still won't because there's no pomp and circumstance behind the. There's no lead up.
Yeah, I think advertising these things a little bit earlier would be beneficial. It could create more exposure, could get more people to be aware of what Love, Death, and Robots is. But, you know, again, I think for the fans that appreciate and love this series, they're gonna really love what's coming up. And the trailer does a really good job capturing that.
It's phenomenal. It's so good.
Yeah.
But let's get to our final trailer here. Monstrous, which is going to be from directed by Chris Sivertson. Description is: a traumatized woman flees from her abusive ex-husband with her 7-year-old son. In their new remote sanctuary, they find they have a bigger, more terrifying monster to deal with. This is starring Christina Ricci, Santino Barnard, Dawn Jarrell, Colleen Camp, Lou Temple, and Carol Ann Watts. And it's going to be in theaters and on demand on the same day on May 13th. Justin, what did you think of Monstrous?
Yeah, this I got some WandaVision vibes right off the bat.
Yeah.
Just because I guess it's the sort of old-fashioned 1960s
vibes. Yeah.
So I was wondering if, again, they're playing with this sort of psychosis, like this idea that it's in her mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
It does really. Again, this trailer feels like it's kind of given a lot away, even to the point of actually showing you whatever the hell that cheesy monster thing was. It
doesn't look good.
I don't know. I think they showed too much. I think leaving things in the shadows and at a distance was probably the better way to go. I didn't need this like glimpse at that. I was just like, oh man, this looks cheesy. Looks really cheesy. Right at that point, yeah, right.
Have you ever seen Old Greg? Do you know have you ever seen that skit? Like, I'm Old Greg. Okay, you got to look up Old Greg. But anyways, The creature for my Old Greg stands out there. They know what I'm talking about. The creature just looks like a wet, sloppy mess with hair. kind of like Cousin It if it fell in a lake, but
right, yes.
right, and it's like,
yeah, exactly.
Why are you doing like it doesn't look good, but part of me makes me feel like, and the reason they're showing it in the trailer is, to your point, I think it is because the actual antagonist of this movie isn't this monster. Right? Like, I think they're kind of getting away with the idea of, like, we don't have to really focus in too much on the monster. We don't even want our audiences to, like, be that freaked out by the monster, because it's not to do with the monster. It is to do with her mind. We see her calling, asking for, like, a therapist at some point. But I thought the freaky 1960s game show music at the beginning was very... It kind of really, I think, points out what this movie is going to be, which is, like, they're going to contrast the bright 60s visuals when they're with Christina Ricci's character, and then every time they show the kid, it's going to be, like, super dark and super scary, right? So I could see them kind of going that route of sort of, like, giving the audience the impression that it's like, oh, it's all in the kid's mind, like, he needs to, he's just a scared little kid, but in reality, it's actually Christina Ricci pulling all the strings and doing all these things. Like, I could see that her being the villain of the actual
I think so too. I think that they're alluding to it so much, even in the poster, where you see her standing in the water, and in the reflection of the water is like this monstrous sort of entity, like, that's wrapping itself around, but it kind of alludes to the fact that it's her. It would be her reflection in the water, right? So yeah, I feel
I don't
like
know if I want to check it out, though.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either if I really want to check it out.
I love Christina Ricci, though. Like, her in more
do
horror
love
and
her,
supernatural stuff, right? Like, let's go. But
yeah, we talked about, like, how Tim Burton's doing the Wednesday, I think, series or movie, the Addams Family spinoff, and Tim Burton's doing it, and that's at Netflix. And the fact that Christina Ricci's going to be in that's great, because we'd love to see more of her, especially working with Tim Burton. So it's interesting to see this. This kind of gave me also, like, a bit of a 90s, maybe early 2000s horror movie vibe, where it kind of looks a little
very low.
Yeah, it looks a little cheesy. Like, it just you know what I mean. Like, it's one of those horror movies. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm interested to see what people are going to think of it, but I don't think I'm going to check it out. I don't think it'll be something, unless people are like, yo, this movie fucks with your head. You got to check it out. Then I'll be like, all right, fine. I'll watch it.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what people say.
We'll wait and see.
So maybe it'll be part of a future Whatcha, but we're getting a little our hair's growing out like the monster from Monstrous right now, and it's way too long.
Looking like a wet, sloppy mess. So let's put an end to this.
Wet, sloppy, brick-looking mess. Justin, whatcha, bud? What you been watching? What you been playing? What you been reading? What you been watching, my friend?
So the only thing that I actually watched this past week was Ozark. Season 4, Part 2, which we were given the opportunity to screen early and review, which is out now. So if you are an Ozark fan and you want to hear our thoughts, we only watched the first 6 episodes.
Which I still, as of this recording, haven't watched the finale. I still need to do it.
You haven't watched the finale? Okay,
no.
Cool. So yeah, we'll be watching that. We'll be watching that, and then we'll be reviewing it and posting that at a later date. But I that's all I've been watching this week, other than maybe playing a little bit of Star Wars.
I was going to say, any games? You've been getting into the
Yeah.
Lego Skywalker saga?
Oh yeah, I'm like amidst episode 2 right now, and I'm doing like 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm enjoying the activities, but I find it really weird that at certain parts in this game, you're just walking to follow people and to do things, and like, I guess I'm gonna go do those things, but I'm gonna come back and probably explore a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah. I'm it's just really strange though that, like, and there's just dialogue of people talking, and it's like, I don't know what this is supposed to do for me, other than for me to just get my narrative pieces, I guess.
Pretty much.
Of where I'm at in the story. And they're having such liberties with the actual
story
stories of each of the of episode 1 and episode 2 thus far, and it's kind of fun. It's parody. It's
sure,
it has that comedy aspect. I know you've been playing it as well. You're probably further along, if not already done all 9, right?
No, you know what? I actually just wrapped episode 3 last night, and I'm going to be moving into to A New Hope now. But
nice.
I do understand what you're saying, where there's a lot of moments where you're just like literally walking to the next spot or the next place to continue the story. Their initial idea with the design for the game is that you would play a story moment and then it would unlock and open up for you to do all the side quests within that little pocket of moment. I do find that even just the time it takes to do all those specific little things really drags down the pacing. So I agree with you, dude. If I'm going to make a recommendation, it's funny, if you look at my progress for episode 1 for Phantom Menace, I have like 58% done. And then
I have 50. I was
right.
blown away. I was like, what? How could I have only done 50? Like, dude, I did all
so
of
much.
the stuff. That's crazy.
But the reason for
That's
that
nuts.
is because a lot of the stuff you can't even accomplish until you've finished the other trilogies, and you unlock different characters or different aspects that allow you to do them. So it really is designed. It's kind of like the design of the game is sort of clashing against itself, where it's encouraging you to go out and explore, but you can only go so far, and then you continue the storyline. Whereas honestly,
okay, so I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy. I'm going to recommend it.
I'm not a seasoned gamer, so like I'm just like every time I'm like walking with this person that's telling me story stuff, they're walking so slow, and I'm like, oh, there's stuff over there. I can go collect that.
Yeah.
Oh, what are those people doing?
It's
like,
just do the story. Just go through the story honestly, and then when you finish all 9 movies, then if you feel like you want to go back and do 100%, it's going to be, honestly, you'll be doing it so much faster because you'll have unlocked those different capabilities.
Interesting. And I can do it with any character at that point, or no?
Well, there's different versions of all the different characters, right? Like there's the smuggler, there's the droid, there's the Jedi. So you'll have a bunch of them, and even those characters unlock different abilities later throughout the different ones.
Okay.
Where even having some of those characters be like, oh, I need a mechanic for this one, but my mechanic hasn't unlocked the specific ability yet, so even then I still can't do it. So it's again, it just feels like the design for it is kind of clashing, which is a bit of a negative for it. But if you're a Star Wars fan and a Lego fan,
it's fun.
Phenomenal.
It's definitely fun. I'm enjoying it. The graphics are great on the PS5.
Yeah,
that's the console I decided wanted to get because I just thought better graphics and
instead of using on the Switch.
On the Switch, on the go sort of thing. Yeah. I'm using the Switch for other games, and I'll save that for another watch. But Nate, what you been up to this past week? Other than,
speaking of,
I know you've been watching Ozark.
Yeah, I've been watching Ozark, and I'm probably going to watch the finale either after this recording or early tomorrow morning. But I've been, you know what? Usually with Whatcha, we like to suggest something that we've been enjoying. I'm going to go a little bit different. Speaking of video adaptations, I've been keeping up with Halo, and we're on episode 5, and Justin.
Has it been just a downward trajectory for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is it like you're slowly landing on this one? Like,
yeah, like a pelican. I don't know. I don't know who this show is for. Because it's.
Are they getting the lore? Are they building out?
Dude,
it's
things?
Not.
The lore is not interesting enough for a new person to come in and for it to be like, here we're explaining what's going on. There's not enough of that going on for someone who's never touched Halo, so it doesn't work for new audiences. And then they stray pretty far away from the games to the point where, as a diehard Halo fan, they're trying to do something different. I respect that. Cool. But it almost seems like I just don't care. I really don't care. And it's like the last episode, I think, had the most Halo aspects of it, which was episode 5, really good. There were some dope action moments. They've got, they're running with the gun. It's like a whole, there's ships landing. They show the different enemy types, right? We got jackals running in there. We got grunts running in there, but I just don't care about the kind of what they're trying to do. I thought that we get to see Pablo Schreiber actually in the series. He's not behind a mask the entire time, which is something we speculated. And I thought that would be something that would really humanize his character. And they're trying to do that by showing some of his backstory. Right. Dude, we're 5 episodes in. I don't give two craps about Master Chief in this series. Like, I really don't care about him enough. And they keep doing things that pull me out of it as well. Like, do you know when they show helmeted characters and you see like a close up of their face, right? And you're meant to be seeing what their facial expression is behind the mask. They keep doing that. It's just Pablo Schreiber's face stretched across my OLED TV, and I'm just like, I don't need to see that close. And I just,
well, what you get all that OLED for then, man?
That's
if
it.
Not to see
Pablo Schreiber's face sweaty, stretched across my screen. He's not. They're not making him likable at all, and I don't know, man. I'm at a place where I'm like, I have to keep watching it because I want to see where they go with it. And they are doing a season 2, but I'm going to be canceling Paramount Plus as soon as this season is over.
Wow.
Dude, I watched Jackass forever, and then I'm going to finish this, and then I don't need Paramount Plus anymore. I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's anything else. Have you tried anything on Paramount Plus? Stay far away, dude. Stay far away from the new Fairly Odd Parents show, the live action Fairly Odd Parents show. Absolute garbage and an insult to anyone who ever liked that show. And then the Rugrats, dude. The Rugrats show is disgusting. Like, don't get me wrong, I stand by animation. This looks like it's like an art style that they purposely did. Like, we're gonna make it look like it was developed on a PC from 1980s. Like, why does it look so? Like, it looks like, do you remember what Reboot looked like?
Yeah.
It's that, but in 2022. What?
It's almost like, so when I saw the first look of the Rugrats,
dude,
I was interested, but what I actually thought was kind of quirky is they took the retro computer graphic style of the time when Rugrats was a thing, and they brought it to its sort of 3D animated.
It doesn't work, dude.
And I don't think it works.
No.
I don't think it
especially
works,
when your premiere episode for the Rugrats is 43 minutes long. What? Who are you making this show for? I don't understand what Paramount is doing with this stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll in a future watch if we make it to the end of Halo and it's amazing, then I'll let you know. But that is it. We hope you enjoyed This Week in Geek, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts. If you want to write into the show with your thoughts on this week's news or any of the content that we cover, I'm going to use my little Minecraft pickaxe. I don't know what they do in Minecraft. Justin, can you tell them how to reach us?
They can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or they can reach out to us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Keep in mind, we also have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows, including our recent spoiler-free review for The Northman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Ozark Season 4 Part 2, up to 6 episodes. And then we're going to have our spoiler-filled thoughts on the entire Part 2, including the finale, very soon. Plus, keep in mind, we also have our ongoing weekly Watch Club happening for Marvel's Moon Knight, which we're going to be dropping this Friday, where we'll have, again, our special guest, friend of the show, Mike Smith from the Dumpster Talk podcast on, again, to talk about the penultimate episode. He did such a great job with us in episode 4, which, if you haven't already listened to, go back, of course, because that episode 4 of Moon Knight was just so good. It slaps. So if you want to go and have a good time, listen to us chuckle on with all our theories, you can do that. Go give those episodes a listen and leave a 5-star review if you don't mind. Last thing here, we are going to be entering a very strange multiverse real soon, and we're going to have so much coverage around Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that we're going to be taking a week off of This Week in Geek. So no episode next Wednesday, but trust me, it's going to be like when you hear some of the things that we are going to be doing on the podcast centering around Multiverse of Madness. It's going to be really exciting. I'm so stoked to see what we do. It's going to be strange. Anyways, we are Geekcentric, and you can be too. So you can also check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Geekcentric, and also again on Twitter at GeekcentricYT. Justin, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. And as we say, love ya.
Peace.